Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Shado, the internet personality with the best hair. I think I should probably, consider my options a little more before trying to do 2 long-form reviews in the same week, but to be honest with you, after watching enough Rocky training montages, you feel like you could do just about anything. With that out of the way, hopefully I can review and post this on time. After the continued success of Rocky, though one series Stallone was doing well in for his film career, he finally managed to have a non-Rocky hit with First Blood. Proving himself to be a capable actor for more than just getting his head beat in, obviously this resulted in demand for yet another sequel to Rocky. Which wasn't really planned, though technically no sequel in the Rocky series was actually planned. But then again, he also said everything that he wanted to say in the Rocky series in Rocky 2. And Rocky 4 comes off more like a really long episode of a Rocky TV series. That style being the Monster of the Week, with this week's challenge, the enormous boxing beast from the Soviet Union, Ivan Drago, played by Dolph Lundgren. He shows up, does some damage, and Rocky must montage harder than ever before to defeat him. Honestly, I could end this review right here and just go into the final thoughts, because I've already said everything there is to say about the plot in 2 sentences. But just because I got another review out this week doesn't give me a free pass to phone this one in. So let's take a look at Rocky 4 and see exactly how nuanced the montages are. Because I'm going to have to come up with something to say for 20 minutes. The movie opens up to the familiar tune of Eye of the Tiger, where we watch an extremely shiny American boxing glove and an extremely shiny Soviet boxing glove clash and explode! Then it's back to the usual routine of watching the ending fight of the previous Rocky movie. Or rather, just the ending in general, as after the bout with Clubber Lang, we also see the just-for-fun behind-closed-doors rematch between Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed, as in the exact amount we saw from the end of Rocky 3, but once the actual new footage of this movie starts, we do get some hints as to how that may have went.
Where'd you get that hat?
A friend gave it to me. Like it?
Who punched you in the eye?
Same friend.
That's weird.
Introducing Rocky, played by Rocky. I don't know if the kid was actually called Rocky at the time. He's credited as Rocky Krakow, but it's said in his information that he was born Angelo Bruno Krakow, and I'm personally not sure exactly how fast he had it changed. Whatever the case may be, Rocky's extracurricular ass-kickery was really shittily scheduled because it just so happened to coincide with Paulie's birthday, and the man's been waiting all day for Rocky to show up because even on his own birthday, Rocky somehow is the most important person to consider. It's okay though, Rocky got Paulie a gift. It's big, it's metal, and it's really expensive.
Happy birthday, Paulie!
Well, 5 minutes in, I've already reached the biggest what the fuck of the entire series.
What the hell is this?
Your present.
Yo, I wanted a sports car for my birthday. Not no walking trash can.
Don't get me wrong, a fucking robot is an awesome gift to get, especially in the mid-80s, but it's kind of like asking Santa for a PlayStation 4 and instead you get a holographic unicorn pet. It's cool and all, but it doesn't really have the same use. You gotta hand it to Rocky though, he's nothing if not efficient, considering while they were in the market for cakes, he decided to go ahead and get a cake for Adrian as well, celebrating their anniversary, albeit a week early.
Has it been that rough?
No.
I get the boxing ring, heavyweight champion and all, I'm just not so sure that if I were the one getting it, I would have told the baker to depict me punching my wife. This is all just to establish yet again Rocky's life is going fantastic. However, a dark shadow emerges on the horizon, specifically that of a jet carrying Dolph Lundgren, playing Ivan Drago. He has arrived from the Soviet Union with the intention of kicking American ass in a sporting event during an exhibition match, just for the lulz.
If possible, we would like to have an exhibition bout with your famous champion Rocky Balboa.
What makes you think he can stand the pressure of fighting someone as seasoned as Balboa?
It is 80s, he is bad guy. You turn Drago down, you will just have to find another Russian to fight. The thing is, Apollo caught this on his poolside color TV, and it has inspired him to call up Rocky. Fortunately, he's able to take the call in his handy-dandy robot.
You coming out? Yeah, that's great. What am I doing? I'm just getting dizzy.
Now, the robot isn't important to the plot, like, at all. It's just fucking robot. Seriously. It may have something to do with the John Henry-esque man versus machine tone that a lot of the scenes have, though, as Drago's training room is shown off for the press, and it's chock full of the latest technology in physical fitness and tracking personal stats.
A normal heavyweight averages 700 pounds of pressure per square inch. As you can see, as the loser. Drago averages 1,850 pounds. So the result's quite obvious.
When Drago punches face, it looks just like scene from Scanners with head explosion. Nevertheless, Apollo makes it to Rocky's house as he has a very important request to make, and can't let anything get in the way of this. Considering this movie is still written and directed by Sylvester Stallone, I'm wondering if he let the success go to his head. Or up his nose. Anyway, Apollo's request is a simple one. Drago has come all the way from the Soviet Union to beat up on some Americans and make them look bad, but Apollo believes that if they beat the shit out of him, whoever knocks his ass to the mat will come out an American hero. Obviously, he would like to come out of retirement to take the opportunity for himself. Pretty much everyone thinks this is a terrible idea as they're getting too old for this shit, but after enough speeches about boxing being who they are and not being able to change that, eventually Rocky agrees to allow him the chance to take on Drago.
Rocky, how do you think Apollo should fight Drago?
Well, personally, I think the first thing you better get Apollo is a ladder.
Interestingly enough, they actually weren't looking for a gigantic monster of a man to play Drago in this movie, and they initially turned Lundgren down. Of course, then they kind of had another little meeting and said, you know, actually, that would look fucking awesome, call him back up. This meeting with the press starts off as it usually does, with Apollo Creed expressing his larger-than-life persona, talking about how inexperienced Drago is, and how it doesn't matter how hard they say the man can hit, nothing in the ring matters but experience, and that's on Creed's side. The fact that Drago doesn't speak a word, and his associates talk for him, does lead to some insults being slung back and forth, though, ending in a classic shouting match with the fighters being pulled apart.
How did I do? A little loud for my taste, but good. Oh yeah, very good.
Though it is clear it was just Apollo playing the psychological game and hamming it up for the cameras. You gotta keep up appearances after all. Though Drago may not know, as the dark music chimes in, playing throughout the preparations for the bout, showing he is ready to take Apollo down. So with one last pep talk from Rocky, a very enthusiastic Apollo Creed prepares to face off against a determined Ivan Drago. Or a confused Ivan Drago, as he seems completely overwhelmed when the ring raises up to the lights, the dancers, the music, and motherfucking James Brown. He was getting ready for a fight, then they just drop him down in the middle of a Living in America music video. Seriously, they go through the entire damn song with Creed dancing alongside James Brown. Makes it easy to see what kind of movie we're dealing with. Way more in line with trying to simply be entertaining and not concerned much at all with deep twisting drama. To be fair, I'm far more willing to accept showgirls at a boxing match than robot servants in the 1980s. In any case, they do eventually get to the match, and as soon as it starts, things turn deadly serious.
Alright, it's time to go to school, son. Come on, get your hands up, man. You need an interpreter? It's time to go to school.
You will lose.
Massively important, as it was the first thing that Ivan said all movie. And it was pretty much just him looking at Creed and going, "Loser." The fight starts off simply enough. While the build-up led us to think Apollo might toy with him for some time like he did Rocky, instead it seems like Ivan is the one just letting Apollo dance around for a bit before launching into successive punches into the fucking face! Punches that take place after the bell rings, but who cares about that? Even though Apollo is getting his ass royally kicked and Rocky knows he can't win, Creed demands Rocky let him continue and not throw in the towel no matter what. With his hands tied, Rocky has no choice but to stand beside the ring and watch as Ivan tears into his friend and finishes him off. You know, movie, it's kind of hard to show the punch and then him hitting the mat when I personally limit myself to 10-second clips and you decide to play that in super fucking slow motion. And it's not like it really matters, I guess, because it's going to be hit with a Content ID match like every single other Rocky review I've done, but still. Point is, Apollo is down, and before they even count out 10 seconds, the press has already swarmed the ring to hear Ivan's victory speech. This effectively drowns out the terrifying realization that Apollo Creed wasn't just knocked out. The fight was too much for the man, and he died in the ring. Rocky knows we can't end the movie like this, though, and decides to accept Drago's offer to fight, and that this match will take place in the Soviet Union. However, the press meeting for the announcement keeps getting sidetracked by everyone calling Ivan a murderer, which his management doesn't appreciate.
This more typical rude behavior toward visiting foreigners.
I will have you know, I have been deeply triggered by this. With accusations from intent to kill Creed to steroid abuse, Drago and his comrades returned to the Soviet Union, with Rocky preparing to follow. Problem is he never bothered to tell Adrian about the plan, and guess what? She's not happy with it at all, and it doesn't make sense to her.
Before, there were reasons to fight I could understand, but I don't understand this.
That's because we just started Act 2. You never fucking understand at this point in the movie. Give it 30 more minutes, I'm sure he'll come around. The thing is, this is tension, and we're supposed to feel some kind of emotion here. Not too much to work off of, but don't worry about that. Rocky knows just what to do. He'll drive off into the night, right into the middle of a music video to Robert Tepper's No Easy Way Out.
There's no easy way out. There's no shortcut home.
As different as the direction is versus the previous entries in the series, I do have to give the movie this much. The music, paired with the clips of the previous films, does elicit a decent emotional reaction out of the viewer. Ironically enough, it also is a sort of easy way out. Perhaps too easy, as after it's decided Rocky is going to head off to Russia with Paulie, and Apollo's former trainer Duke, played by Tony Burton, leaving Adrian behind to watch over Rocky Jr., he flies into another musical number. Not quite as much music video or mashup as the last ones, but either way, Survivor's Burning Heart is clearly the star of this scene.
In the burning heart, just about to burst. There's a quest for answers and a quench of the thirst.
Rocky IV. Come for the boxing, stay for the soundtrack. This is Rocky's big introduction to Russia, played by Wyoming. It seems, along with keeping the bout itself secret from Adrian until the last second, he also kept the accommodation secret from his friends until they arrived, as Paulie is less than pleased to find out they've gone from a mansion with a robot servant to some ice-hole frozen wasteland.
You planning to grow reindeer or something?
I just wanted to get away from things, you know?
Like, all the things. People, plant life, the English language. Rocky has requested some training equipment for his stay, and that's pretty much all we need to say about his stay here. I mean, they do have a little chat about, hey, remember that time Ivan killed Apollo? Well, beat Ivan in the ring, okay? Okay. Therefore, it's time for a training montage! This seems to hammer home the man versus machine subtext I mentioned earlier, as it shows Rocky training out in Wyoming with nothing but his spirit to push him, while Ivan performs similar motions, but with the help of the highest technology and gym equipment to make it as expensive as possible. Unfortunately, they don't follow this training up with Rocky getting insanely good at pulling sleds and just running past like a team of dogs pulling a sled and winning the cup or something like that. I mean, hell, they went as far as they did with the fucking robot, so why not? Now that Rocky has been out in Russia long enough to grow out his beard and start looking like Solid Snake, who would just so happen to show up on his porch but Adrian? All that shit about not approving of the fight? Yeah, she approves now.
I'm with you no matter what.
No matter what.
It's good to know. Now help me in destroying Metal Gear. No time for that, we've got to jump right into the second big training montage, this time set to the tune of Hearts on Fire by John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band. I don't mean to abridge the movie this heavily, but that's seriously how it goes if you're looking at plot. It's like, here's this montage followed by a montage, which leads into a montage. Montage. But remember that seemingly random accusation that Ivan was in fact taking steroids? It turns out the truth is inconsequential. And yeah, they just showed the man juicing up, but it never comes up again past this point. It's just, you wouldn't want to complicate the plot now. As there isn't a handy staircase nearby for Rocky to ascend, he figures, fuck it, let's just climb a mountain. With that out of the way, it's time for the main event. This time, taking him out of the familiar territory of Wyoming, Russia, to Canada, Russia, for the match. We do take a little more time to try to be emotional, though, when Paulie lets Rocky know that he appreciates the man still being a true friend to a bum like him.
You know, it's hard for me to say these kind of things because that ain't my way. But if I could just unzip myself and step out and be someone else, I want to be you.
Yeah, I'd go for someone a little richer, and with less people trying to beat the shit out of him at every turn. Upon meeting the crowd, it seems everyone present absolutely hates Rocky Balboa. I'd think they'd at least be neutral on the matter, but no, absolutely everyone in the place is treating him like a bad guy wrestler.
It seems that the booing crowd has absolutely no effect on the man. His concentration seems to be like stone.
That's my dad.
Whoa. Who the fuck are these kids? And who's watching Rocky Jr.? Adrian left for Russia how long ago? Is the robot in charge? Is the kid in charge of the robot? Is the kid in charge? The fuck happened? Well, fuck it. Drago comes out in short order, and of course is met with universal cheering from the crowded arena. In case we need translators for the bleeding obvious, don't worry, there's a couple American newscasters present to describe the movie to us as well.
Look at the expression on the face of Ivan Drago. He seems impervious to this madness of the crowd. He's like a volcano just waiting to erupt.
So, dormant. Unassuming. Blank. In case we've forgotten that we're supposed to be in Russia, though, they briefly take a break to play the Soviet national anthem. According to my research, the one they stopped using in 1977. But details, that's not what we're here to see anyway. It's time for the match between Rocky Balboa and Ivan Drago.
I must break you.
Not gonna do you any good if you do. Haven't you seen the last 3 movies? Rocky's got Wolverine regeneration going on. When the round starts, it goes pretty much as well as we could all assume. Rocky doesn't do very good against Drago at all. At least it makes some sense, as Rocky has a hard time getting close enough to hit the man, while Ivan's reach means he doesn't have nearly so much trouble punching Rocky in the face. This does come off more like a believable fight, though, instead of Rocky doing his classic strategy of stand there and get punched for the first few rounds before going for the knockout. But that's not to say he's impervious to danger.
He woke the sleeping giant, and now he's pinned. Right hand from Drago sends Rocky Balboa 15 feet across the ring, and the champ is down.
You know, even though there wasn't all that much drama leading up to this, I have to admit the way the fight is shot is keeping me on the edge of my seat. Oh, yeah. Or at least it was, up until the end of round 2, when suddenly we switch over to montage-style combat yet again. As it was decided that unlike Rocky 3, this time the fight absolutely has to go all the way to the 15th round, and ain't nobody got time for that. It also makes it very weird that by virtue of kicking Drago's ass several rounds in a row, suddenly the whole of Russia loves him and is cheering his name, despite the fact that he's the American invader beating the fuck out of their champ. As the final round sees Rocky take a beating from Ivan, it's now or never. Predictable? Well, yeah, but you gotta admit the movie didn't have nearly enough drama to be able to actually pull off a sad ending without pissing everyone off. Therefore, happy ending! Rocky has defeated Ivan Drago and remains heavyweight champion of the world. Of course, this was an unsanctioned match, so that never was contested, but he fought in the name of Apollo Creed, who is still dead. Never mind all that. The point is, after going the distance and coming to Russia and beating the fuck out of Ivan, he learned something.
I've seen a lot of changing. The way you felt about me and the way I felt about you. But what I was trying to say is that if I can change and you can change, everybody can change.
Rocky learned the secret to world peace. If you find people that disagree with you, just beat the ever-loving fuck out of them until not only they start agreeing with you, but everyone around them agrees with you. Anyway, that was Rocky IV, and it's not really much of a drama. It's about as much of a drama as it is a rock opera. Truth be told, there wasn't much plot here to cover. Most of the time I feel challenged making these reviews by trying to keep it from going too far over 20 minutes. This time I probably could have done it in 10, but it's not a very worthwhile weekly review show now, is it? Rocky IV builds up on the previous entries, but it doesn't build all that much on them. The main draw of the film, in my opinion, is the soundtrack. Not only do we have some great music here to listen to, but it's used in such a way to evoke emotional reactions out of the audience. It actually worked well enough that I personally found myself caring more about the very sparse drama this time around than I did in Rocky III, despite the fact that objectively, a lot more happened in the previous movie. When it comes to the challenge Rocky must face this time around, the flick clearly is a product of its time. That probably means that during its release, the idea of a big bad Russian boxer killing Apollo and Rocky having to face off against him would have felt a lot more threatening. Nowadays, it just feels a tad cliché. Oh, it's a movie from the 80s with Russia as the bad guys. That's worth a laugh for the camp, but we're not going to take it too seriously. Still, despite this, I think the movie does hold up very well today. If you're a fan of the 80s, the music and the Russian slant should keep you entertained. For drama, it does fall short, but I still think it's worth a good 3 sudden James Brown music videos out of 5. And I still have no fucking idea what in the hell was up with that robot. Maybe it was just Stallone finding an interesting thing to claim on his taxes that year. I don't know. But thank you all for watching. I've been Shado. And remember, there is no more powerful diplomatic tool than beating the shit out of public figures.